Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review episode 212. This is reviewing the 989th episode of the anime Oath of a Man. I believe it's what it's called, right? No, it's the Pact between men. The fierce fighting of the Bronco tank. This one does finish up chapter number 982, covering pages 5 through 8 and 9 through, I believe it's like 17, I think it is. Actually, it's like 11 to 17, excuse me. Yeah. Now, I'm also covering the issue of the manga plus a one-shot. Yes, a one-shot. And you're thinking, really? There's a one-shot released for One Piece? Yes, there is. This is actually like the third or fourth one released in the last like couple years. Now, I will discuss this one when I finish talking the episode. Now, there's a scene in this episode. They simply just reuse stock. They just basically use stock footage from the last episode. It's the scene where they ended last week, where Kanjuro is going to meet Orochi and Kaido. It's the same exact scene. And I'm thinking, why the heck did you put this scene in here, even though you put it in there last week? This scene makes no freaking sense at all. Luffy, in case you're curious though, doesn't really do anything until like the last few minutes of the episode. Now, these characters with the Straw Hats are absent from this episode. And those are Robin, Jinbei, Brook, and Frankie. These four are completely absent from the episode. Due to the fact they're simply just busy doing other things. Episode mostly focuses on Chopper and Usopp. Yep, that's focused on first this episode, where they're passing by, of course, they see Big Mom, and of course Chopper tells, I'm Tank Commander Chopper, I'm on patrol, and Big Mom's like, okay, and they're like, that's familiar, she remembers, oh yeah, and then she breaks the wooden window of the room she was in, and start chasing after Usopp and Chopper. And then they have an extended sequence that actually never happened in the manga, where they get chased to a quarry. Yes, a quarry, where somehow, someway, this I thought that was really weird, where apparently we have some SS soldiers. I'm not kidding about that. We actual SS soldiers, or mostly Nazis. Yes, they put in freaking Nazis here, wearing the attire of the animal pirates and firing mortar shells, firing off cannons. Surprised at how freaking Tiger Tank here. I'm like, where the heck these people come from? And they refer to Big Mom as Majesty. Last time I checked, Big Mom doesn't have any of her forces actually currently in this point in Wano. She doesn't have any, yet somehow these people basically call her Majesty, which I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why the heck would Kyle even have German soldiers part of his group? This makes no freaking sense. And then we have, of course, the Brachio tank basically taking out, the German soldiers. That's literally what these people are. They're German, they're basically a bunch of Nazis. Without the paraphernalia they normally wear. But yeah, these are German soldiers in one piece. I'm like, what the heck is this? Of course, all taken out, and then of course we have apparently Big Mom apparently is taken out, and then turns out nope, she's not taken out. Of course, they run away again. Yep, that was quite hilarious. Excuse me. Meanwhile, though, we see Nami briefly, where she's they chased the Big Mom. And they run to the Hollywood Carrot and Shinobu, where it's she basically pulls open her top and she's like, you can come out now. I'm thinking, who the heck it is? And then we hear her baton talking. And then Prometheus shows up. Yes, seriously, Prometheus shows up. Prometheus is the sun cloud. It's the sun that was made from Big Mom's life force that ends their sea. Kinemon basically is him and I believe it is Dogstorm. Yes, Dogstorm is basically taking off the outfit they're wearing, and they're simply running toward their next destination. Meanwhile, though, Danjiro and his forces have reached this unknown gate. Yeah, apparently it was real like a couple episodes back that they have some outdated blueprints because this gate was not there. And the gate opens, and it's somebody Dundro knows. It's one of the Top Ball pirates. Yes, Suzuki, I think his name is. Where he recognizes Dundro, like, oh, hi, Kanjiro. Kanjiro, how are you? And they chat for a bit, they have a drink, and then they're knocked out. Now, the whole sequence, basically, they add here is complete and enriched because it's very quick, like, oh, they meet up again, and then they're knocked out, and here they actually have a brief conversation, which I do appreciate. That I was like, wow, they actually had a conversation briefly, and then we see him basically take off his little outfit where he shows off his back that he's a member of the Odin, the Uzukuki clan, the Kozuki clan, and then of course, like in the case of Captain Kid Pirates, they simply split up, and of course they go off on their own. Now, before I get to Luffy, his is the most interesting bit of the episode, which I'm so happy they included this. Well, we see what happens next with the whole thing with Kanjuro and his group. Kanjuro, or Kaido, Black Maria. This scene where Kanjuro reveals that his plan actually failed, that the forces did survive, and they're on the way there. And of course, we have Leader Amiwawa reporting 3 of Kaido's ships were destroyed. We don't have information about it. And of course, Kanjuro reports, oh yeah, it was the pirates. They destroyed it. It was the damn pirates, even though that Kaido was a pirate. Yep. And then of course, Orochi basically starts, like, apparently Black Maria decided to dump out a whole bottle of sake into Orochi's big sake cup. Not really sure why she decided to do that for. And of course she has Momonosuke's lying in her lap and shows how big she is when she's able to pick up Momonosuke with one hand. And then later on we see Orochi pick him up and like, oh yeah, let's set the execution stage. Thus setting up something to happen. Probably, I don't think next episode per se. I'd probably say about 2 episodes from now. Yep. But here's the last thing I want to talk about here. We see Luffy still beating up Kaido's goons. And then we see Uti and Page 1 running in the hallway. Page 1, Uti basically getting tired. So she basically hops on her little brother's back to run down. Of course, he breaks some stairs when he's like falling, like sliding down the stairs. And then the episode ends in a hilarious fashion. I remember this basically from last year. And Uti and Luffy stare at each other and says, Uti says, who are you? And Luffy says, who are you? Which, I love this. This was so good. I love this ending. Of 2 characters who had never met each other before. I'm sure that Uti has heard of Straw Hat. Straw has never heard of Uti. But this should be interesting because they're going to fight next episode, which I'm looking forward to that. Yep, great episode. Now, the last video I actually forgot to cover the manga, but this time I'm not going to forget that. First up, we have a chapter called Vivi's Adventure. This is done by, of course, Oda did the original story. This, of course, the artwork is done by Nashi Komi. This is the cover art for it. Now, if you don't know who this person is, Nashi Komi was the creator of a series I'd never heard of before. I never heard of this creator before. Of a series known as Nezuko. Oh yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Nisekoi. That's, I believe, how you pronounce it. I'm not really sure. It's possible. But yes, he actually made the manga. Well, he wrote the series that pretty much covered this particular. He wrote the manga that was used for this series. That, from what I can tell, was never dubbed English. No, for some reason, it never was. Yeah. Like, there's no listing of an actual. Yeah, so this whole thing is focused on Vivi's perspective, what happened toward the end of Alabastar. We see Igrum, where he's basically having a vision of the Straw Hat ship. This, of course, when they were on the Going Merry, and Vivi attempt to become the Pirate Queen. And of course, he wakes up, and oh, good morning. What's wrong? You're sweating. And I think it's Igrum's wife's like, no, not Igrum. Don't barge in. Durant knocking. Princess Vivi is dressing. Good morning. What is it? Get out. Yep, of course he gets beaten up by his own wife. Like, jumping conclusions. There's no denying Vivi is a very beautiful woman. Despite the fact at this point she's supposed to be about 16, I think she's 17. I think currently she's 19 right now. Where the capital city members wonder about Vivi's like announcer for the ceremony for when she commits to her little ceremony when she turned like gets out of the country. And then we see the Straw Hats about to basically they're just celebrating in their bedroom. And they get a phone call from Bon Clay. This is a slight alteration from the actual book. Now, the way it's looking like it's shown here is that Luffy's actually very angry Bon Clay is there. And the thing is, here he refers to him as Swan. And in the anime, and I think in the original manga, he referred to him by his real name, Bon Clay. Hey, is that you, Swan? Yep, I'm taking your ship. You have been joking. He's very angry, come over your ship. I thought we were friends. And, well, they actually do me reading that later. And, of course, Nami talks to her for a bit about going to a particular port at noon tomorrow. We'll do next day. And then she basically sleeps on it. Of course, the Straw Hats sneak out in the middle of the night to the Straw Hat ship. Yep, and then we see the Going Merry. Now, if you've never seen the Going Merry before, that's it right there. That is the Going Merry. I got to hand it to this artist. He recreated the actual Going Merry, and pretty much its condition, it's mostly the same, I'd say. I don't remember the sides being basically bandaged up that much. I think that's a slight alteration from the actual story. Everybody's basically preparing ready to go. And then we see these two. The hypnotist from, I think it was the Black Cat Pirates, and the lieutenant. Yes, if you're curious though, did these two actually encounter Luffy during this particular arc? No, they never did. And here's the thing. Luffy would not encounter the hypnotist until Marineford. The steel guy, he has never actually met before. But Sanji has, and it ain't a original thing. Yep, and of course the ships get destroyed. And of course Bon Clay basically decides to help, and of course, Luffy's wondering, what's that black cage? Yeah, and looking at Bon Clay's outfit, it's a slight alteration. I think they slightly altered the attire Bon Clay wears here. Where basically, now, this information Luffy never actually got in the original anime, in the actual episode where this scene happened in, and the actual manga, where he finds out about Hina, a woman he would actually not encounter again until Marineford. Yep. And here she is, Hina, drawn by this artist. I'm like, wow, he does a really good job with her. And unlike, let's say, Oda, who's been constantly accused of basically when he draws women, giving him an hourglass figure, she looks really good. She looks like an actual woman. And of course, come on the plan to, pick up a friend, of course, Vivi. And then we see Cobra. And we also see a picture of Vivi's mom. Now, as far as I can tell, Vivi's mom was never shown in the original series. Now, this is how the artist draws King Cobra. That's him on the right. the picture is apparently his late wife, Vivi's mom, who, with the exception of hair, is got mostly looks almost exactly like Vivi. Yep, and then of course Vivi tells information she needs to know, and of course Bon Clay buys in time for the escape. And of course, they chase him about, and of course, they have his crew dress up like the Straw Hats, and of course, they get away. And then, of course, he just buys him time. It's like, shall we dance? Hina is very angry. Yes, she did talk this way, where she would talk in the third person. I at least got praise. Of course, Oda wrote this thing. Bon Chen. Yeah, he actually. Now, in the dub, he never referred by the honorific. It's only in the manga he referred to as Bon Chen. And of course, Bon Clay's ship looked like it was destroyed. I know what happened to his men, particularly because when we see Bon Clay pop up later on and impel down, his men are nowhere to be seen. It's unknown what happened to them. It's quite weird. And Ingram basically just questions the whole thing about, Vivi talks to him, of course, he has to dress up as her while she goes up the shoreline. And, of course, then, of course, she talks for a bit. And then we see the leader, who actually in the English dub is voiced by Todd Eppicorn, where he's hearing Vivi's speech. And look at his face. I don't remember him having a scar on his face in the original series. In the anime, I don't remember him doing that. I guess that was a new artistic thing to make it a little tough. And of course, Vivi basically details a highlights of her journey with the Straw Hats, which of course is very cool. And how good people they are. And of course, we have the scene where Luffy is hugging Vivi. Now, this moment where Luffy is smiling while hugging Vivi, here's the thing, that actually never happened. Like, here's Luffy, and the way it's drawn here, it's like he's drawn to be a pervert. Yes, I am not kidding about that. Like, apparently, he's hugging Vivi, he's smiling. And of course, the way he's holding Vivi is kind of how he held her in the anime. But wow, I'm like, okay. But what is up with the creepy smile like that? Like, it almost makes out like, I got myself a hot one in my arms. It's basically like, apparently the artist just couldn't help himself, basically by giving Luffy a big grin. Even though he wasn't smiling when he was holding her like that. Not really, no. It's almost like basically the writer was implying Luffy wanted to sleep with Vivi. Or at least want to do something really, really bad with her. And then we see parts of the damaged ship, which just wasn't this damaged at this point. No, the ship was fine. With the exception of the ship's head. It's almost like they actually had the damage happen early. Like, apparently, now the damage that shown here, that happened in Skypiea, not during Alabasta. The ship was fine. It was in good condition. So they haul out of there. Actually, the side is actually partially true because I think it was Warpole, the former king of the, now the Sagar Kingdom, he basically was eating the ship. The part was a quick fix, and of course, I see Vivi, and about to turn around, it's like, no, can't go with you because he'll stay here. It shows a country, and continue a friend. And of course, Luffy's about to, but of course he can't because of, and of course, here's the thing. Nami is grabbing Luffy's mouth. Now, here's the thing. The way that she has her hand on his mouth, it's almost like he's going to bite her hand. Yeah, I'm like, why the heck would the artist... Now, this is another thing I thought was really weird. Like, having Nami shove her hand into Luffy's mouth just to keep his mouth closed. Now, he did, because she did cover his mouth up, but not like this. This is something that was really weird. So, what did they respond? And then, of course, they show off the little hand, the marks on their arms, and they all set sail. It's such a good chapter, but man, oh man, what is up with some of the alterations? Like, giving Luffy a creepy, perverted smile, and having Nami basically stick her hand into Luffy's mouth. Because she never did that at all. I'm like, what the heck? Seriously, I thought that was kind of weird. Excuse me. So now we're on to news chat of the manga, Split the Image. And just by sheer coincidence, we have Vivi on the cover. Vivi sinking with sparrows while Carl looks on with jealousy. Yeah, this is so funny. Though I keep wondering when it gets to a new cover story. So the chapter starts off where it looks like, though, that Zoro and Sanji look like they kind of defeated King and Queen, but they get up anyways. And of course, they have a sniper trying to kill Zoro, and of course, Cabaro, the capo, tries to take him out. Of course, I would say this. Good idea, Kamikaze. Hey, Yakuza bosses, don't help out in this duel. But Basaro, these are lead performers. Don't let your approach fan or foe. Let's see the look on our faces. I don't want any interruptions. I mean, what do you mean? Atop the red line is Mary Jo. I'm talking long before that. From what I hear, there used to be a land of gods up there. Yeah, this, of course, apparently it's something that Whitebeard said when he was alive. They have Izzo basically just grabbing Marco because he basically is daydreaming. And then King and Queen stand up and they continue their fight with Sanji and Zoro. And then we have a new move from Queen where he has like a claw hand from his hair. Now we're even. Haha. Hey judges, I hear you won that I hear all your kids cyborgs. You said if I'm mad but that is that burning layers part machine parts? Sorry, pal, I'm all human. Does the human part burn? I know you are a linear. I do. This is the heat of my passion. Suppresses the temperature of the flame. I'm good at cooking up sea beast dinosaur. Let me show you the true power of a cyborg, even though Vegapunk didn't create. Even Vegapunk can't create, kid. And of course, Zoro is taking on King. An excellent fight. It's like, I see a killer machine. Do you need a school or style in order to fight? Nope, good point. And he never called himself a swordsman. Do as you like. Who knows, by the end of this, I might be tearing your throat with my teeth. Anything to assure you I win this fight. Well, sir, a hood lady told me she was going to give that man Emma. Is there a reason why I could not bring her? There was a reason I could not bring myself to stop her. Yes, I understand he is a pirate from across the yet he's strangely enough, he's a spitting image of Samazoki Osamu Damio the Ringo in his youth. Precisely, even his sword style is the same. Lower said was the descendant of the god of the blade. Add the fact he returned Shiroshi to Wano, but I can't figure out the fate of work. Can you see that Rama was also a one-eyed samurai? Are they implying that it's almost implying by this conversation that Zoro might be a resident of Wano, or at least a relative from Wano? I'm like, that sounds interesting. And then Jack appears to interfere and Jack shows up. He and Dog Vapor him and Dogstorm start a fight. Of course, he probably wants payback on Jack for basically nearly ruining his island. Yep. And then we have, I think it's, I think it's Cat Vapor, who basically goes to Swana mode, like, right in front of basically, it's Sulong. Yeah, and here's the thing, Warda and Kara basically witnessing this. That's what we ever see. And then we see that Renzo is taking on the lead Abiyama, which is a really interesting fight. And then we see that Luffy is ready to go up to Wano, and we see a giant-sized Momonosuke. And it's like, is that you, Momo? Indeed. What does the same kid does this mean? Lower North's request, he is now 28. Why are you crying? My lord, you just look like... Come on, Momo, let's take back Wano. Right. It's implying that Momonosuke is a spitting image of his late father. I'm like, damn. That sounds interesting. Yeah. We're probably going to see that probably next chapter, but damn, what a really good chapter. 10 out of 10. Can't wait for the next chapter, which is coming out next week, and hopefully after next week we're not going to take another abrupt week off. I hope not. Okay, so that's it for Cyclo View. Look at the clock right now, it's like a little 11 o'clock, so I was thinking basically watching Case Closed, but I think it might be better for me to watch it tomorrow. Yep. See you next video. Bye.